Okay, so today we have a pretty impressive young man named Wesley Hazelwood here from Arizona. I want you to tell them who you are and why we brought you here today.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, my name is Wesley, and then what I do Christmas lights. So it's a home service business. So we pretty much just put up lights, provide them, take them down, store them, the whole service, and then bring them back up next year. And people love it because obviously people don't like heights, and it's just a service that people just don't want to do and would rather have someone like us do it. It looks more professional, all that.
I know that Sean. There's no way in hell I get him climbing a tree hanging Christmas lights.
I don't do anything now that the ROI isn't there. Like, why am I going to go like do some DIY stuff myself?
And get frustrated.
No. But if I can make more money doing something else,
Time.
yeah. And so if I make X amount per day and then I go pay somebody else for this day and it's like, 10% of that or whatever the number is, it's like, that makes more sense. I would just go make more money instead of me being in my yard trying to hang a bunch of Christmas lights and then break my arm and then go in the hospital. And it sounds terrible.
Right.
Well, we got introduced to you from our friends Mike and Bo. If you watch the podcast, you know who Mike and Bo are. They have a great network of entrepreneurs. And when they told us your story, we're like, we have to have you on because Sean's very first viral reel on social media was about Christmas lights. And so many people just think that either Sean's making up shit or it's not real. You've been called a fraud on social media. I think people have a hard time wrapping their head around what people are willing to pay for Christmas lights. Mm-hmm. So I know every market is different. I know some places in Arizona don't really go all out like they do here in Texas. But what would you say the average house that you do cost to do Christmas lights? Average.
Yeah. So this year we're pretty much done with our season, but the average ticket came out to almost 1,600. But it ranges from a house probably at the very bottom end would be 500 and then all the way up to we have people that'll spend 10, 11 grand on lights.
So what's the most expensive house you've ever done?
Right about 11 grand.
11 grand. Well, we want to know how you got into this. I mean, you're at the ripe old age of 19 years old now.
Yeah.
When did you start your business?
So I started it, this is our third year. So I guess two years ago from now. So I was in high school. I think it was my senior year in high school. Me and a buddy started it because I had seen somebody posting about it on TikTok
Probably
or Instagram.
Sean.
Not back then.
Yeah, somebody was posting about the business and teaching people how to do it. So I saw that and then I tried it out that year and we did pretty well. We did 70 grand that year, but we had only did it for a month and it was just me and my buddy doing it. And we just posted in local Facebook groups. That's the only way we got clients. Mm-hmm. And then, so we did that year. And then I realized the business worked. So then the following year I did a little bit of a coaching thing where I had the Instagram page. I was a guru helping people start that sort of thing. But then I actually stopped doing that just to focus on just the lights that second year, just because I really wanted to grow that because it was more profitable, I felt like.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask you. How much money were you making doing the teaching? Was it just consuming too much of your time answering questions versus what you could do if you were just out there doing it all year? Or not all year, but all winter?
Yeah, so I was actually still in school at that point, and I was still I think I was playing baseball. So I couldn't focus all my time on it, but eventually, because I wanted to do the lights one more year and then start a new business that I could actually build equity in and sell, because you can't sell a coaching program. So that was kind of my plan. So then I wanted to do the lights one more year to build up a bunch of cash flow or cash in the bank to start the next business, which is pretty much what I did. And we ended up doing a little over 300,000 that second year. We just put a lot of money into Facebook ads, hired more guys, and really got the word out there because we were the only ones in the city I'm in.
Were you always an entrepreneur, or how did you, before high school, how'd you even get into business or even think to look on something and I can open that, I can do that myself?
Right. Yeah. So when I was younger, pretty much ever since I was a kid, early teens and stuff, or when I was super young, obviously I would mow lawns and stuff. My parents had me do that to make some money and get a good work ethic pretty much. So that's what I did. And then eventually I got into flipping sneakers and stuff like that. PlayStation 5s would come out and you would buy those because they'd go out of stock. So you'd buy those with bots and stuff and then flip them on eBay for a good amount of money at that age. So I would do that and make money doing that when I was in my teens and stuff like that. And then I had a landscaping business, trimming trees, stuff like that. And then that's pretty much what I did until I found the light business.
So you've always been a hustler.
Yeah.
This is embedded in you. And what do your parents do?
So they're not really business really. So my dad, he just works on the railroad in Needles, but when he was younger. I think he had a storage and a gym, but then he ended up like getting rid of those. And then my mom, she's just a real estate agent.
Because I feel like a lot of times it takes kids that come from the hustle and grind mentality. Sometimes people don't have, entrepreneurial parents. They just know what it's like to not have a lot and see the future bright of what they can do. So I think you might be one of those too. And that's kind of how Sean and I were as well. We didn't have, my mom was an entrepreneur, but she owned a small hair salon. So you get this idea from something you see on social media. You immediately know how to do Facebook ads, or you research how to do Facebook ads. But where did you get the capital to do it? I mean, because I'm sure a lot of it's labor, but a lot of the cost involved was you getting the lights and the extension cords, or I don't even know what's included and what you need. How did you have the money to do that if you didn't have parents to go ask? Were you charging on a credit card? How did you get that capital?
So for the lights, like the first year when I started, I still had like probably like 20 grand, like just in my bank account from just, past hustles and stuff I've done, landscaping. So pretty much I just, bought lights. And then like the first year marketing, all we did was local Facebook groups and door knocking. So there's really no cost in that. And then the lights themselves, it's only like 10%, 10 to 15% of like what you would sell a job for. So I would just I bought like $5,000 of lights, started selling. Then I realized, okay, this works. So then we started bulk ordering, and now we spend a lot more on lights.
So when you first did it, were you just going to Home Depot and getting the lights, or were you going on Alibaba? Where were you getting your lights from?
Yeah. So I have a supplier, and they're like so they're not like Home Depot lights. That's like a big selling point, is they're custom cut commercial grade lights. So we get them in like a big 1,000-foot spool of just socket, and we get these 500 bulb cases of just like the bulbs, and then we get the plugs, the clips. So
it's all separate pieces.
Yeah, so it's all separate pieces.
No assembled, yeah.
Yeah, so we put them up. I pay someone to pre-bulb them and pre-clip them, and then when we put them up, we install them, and then we put our own plugs on, the extension, the lights themselves. So everything looks like a lot cleaner. So people will pay more money for that. And then commercial grade, they're just like brighter bulbs. So like when people are taking pictures of their house or people see them, you could tell it's done by like a professional company, and they're willing to pay, like our average ticket is like $1,600. So they're willing to pay more money for it.
So you said you started buying commercial. In the
Commercial
very
grade
beginning, were
bulbs.
you doing commercial grade on year one? How did you know to go directly to commercial grade, or did you?
Yeah, so I knew to get those right away, just because that's how you could charge higher, and it's like a super good selling point, of course. But I knew just from like, there's like a local or like a Christmas lighting like Facebook group where all the installers go, so you could go in there, ask questions and stuff like that. Yeah, and then the guy that I found the business, he was posting and like, talking about like which lights to use, how to install them and stuff. So that's kind of where I learned all that.
And so I'm in manufacturing, so I'm just curious, what is the rate of defect? Because I feel like any time that I've ever had to put lights even on a Christmas tree, there's always that one fucking bulb that's out and it fucks up the whole strand. Right. How often does that happen for you guys during installation?
Not often, really. It usually works pretty good. The only things that'll happen, like if one of our guys puts a plug on wrong, they'll short out, and then that whole strand will go bad and you have to replace it.
Yeah.
But I've trained them pretty good to where now they don't really do that, and usually it's pretty good. The only thing that'll happen is like if after they're done installing, they won't tighten a bulb all the way. Yeah. And then they'll just have to come back and tighten it. But the cool thing is like if one bulb's out, the whole strand's not out, just that one bulb.
Okay, good.
What did you do this happened to us. What do you do whenever it like trips everyone's breakers? Do you run them? Yeah. Do you have an electrician that'll run them straight to the box, or how do you do that?
So if it trips a breaker, usually the only reason is if they put a plug on wrong and it's shorting, or if like water got onto it. But if that happens, we're like a full service, so we provide like free maintenance too. So if there's ever like a bulb out or it's shorting or something, we just go out there, we reroute it, put new plugs on it.
So you just guarantee your work.
Yeah.
If anything goes wrong.
Our guy does the same thing. If something happens and one of the string goes out, he'll like, I'll be there later, and he'll come by late in the night and he'll come fix it.
Yeah.
So what did you learn from year one to year two? Did you make any profit off of your services in year one? Because you said you sold about $70,000 that first year, right?
Yeah. So the profit on that was, it was still pretty high because it was just me, my buddy. I paid him like $20 an hour, and then the materials. So
you weren't like a co-business owner with this guy. You didn't have a partner. You hired him. This is yours.
Yeah, he was just a friend from high school, and I just hired him. I think for like the first couple jobs we did like 50-50, but then I realized like I'm doing all the work, and so I'm not going to do that. So then I just paid him out.
You learned early on what it's like to have a partner. Work harder than the other.
Yeah. So I did that, and then I paid him hours. So that year is probably like 80% profit. So whatever, like 50 grand, I would say I made that year.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year, so then I put more money into Facebook ads, bought a lot more lights, but I ended up getting better pricing on lights because I was bulk ordering. So bought more lights, hired more guys, Facebook ads. I actually hired like an agency to run them, which is like $1,500 a month. They have like a retaining fee.
Was that worth it to you?
Yeah, he's really good at what he does, and I don't want to have to learn to do
It's
Facebook ads.
It's hard.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were running the ads or if you had a marketing firm doing it. So I think it's good for people to hear though, because when you first started the first year, all you did was go to local Facebook groups and post in there, and that's how you got your leads and door knocked.
Yeah.
So when people complain about not having any money, I mean, some people make $50,000 a year, and you made it in 3 months. No, actually, you started late in the first season,
like
right?
2 months.
Yeah, 2 months. You made 50 grand in profit, and so people are just lazy. Like you could just get you and one friend got all the leads, made the sales, and put up the lights.
Yeah, you're gonna have 99 no's, but you're gonna have one yes.
Yeah.
So what was your rate of closure that first year?
It was pretty high. I think it was like 70 something, because the thing with us, we were the only, so it's like a smaller town, but it's like a retirement community that has the money to spend on it. But it's small enough to where there was no other installers doing this. There might be a handyman that would come put up your lights for $100. There's nobody like that does the full service, sells to the high-end clients. So when we made that post, like people were all over it. We had like hundreds of comments. So the close rate was high because everyone wanted to try the service and see what it was about.
Really good business for a kid that you can only make what's I don't even know what minimum wage is now, but you make
like
$10 an hour or
7.
something, and you can't even work enough hours to basically pay your gas and your expenses. And somebody else in high school, you can actually go do this in 2-3 months. You can make, I guess this year you made a ton, but the first year made 50 grand. That's really good.
Also, what's so unique about you is that you were a hustler so early on that you had saved up 20,000. I mean, people my age in their 40s don't have 20,000 in their savings. So that's amazing that you were able to not spend that on dumb shit that teenagers spend money on, and that you were able to save that. Sean was like that too. He was always really good at saving money too. So that's how he had money to buy his first flip house.
Yeah, you're already ahead of the game.
Yep. So what month did you start? Because I think I heard you say you started a little late that first year. What month did you start in? Did you decide you were going to do this?
The first year, I think it was like mid-October.
Okay, so you were really late in the game then.
Yeah, so we didn't probably get our first house until November, so we had all through November and then like 15 days in December.
Oh, wow, yeah, not that long.
So yeah, it was short.
But I'm sure you were probably the cheapest one. I said there wasn't a lot of competition anyway, but
I don't think there's a lot of people out there that do it.
Yeah,
it's
we were the only one that did it. And a lot of people were like, those prices are crazy. We'll have this guy come hang up our lights for $100, but they didn't get the service and they weren't our ideal client. So it doesn't matter. Like we still have people like that comment on our posts or our ads and say that, but they're not our ideal client.
You can't afford us, bitch. That's what you should say. No, people get their panties on a lot about
so
the price
funny.
of
It's
Christmas
like,
lights.
why do they care what people spend their money on? If somebody starts a business and they provide a good service that somebody else wants,
I don't know,
then
they get mad either.
they're providing value to the person that's buying it, and they see value in it. It's like, I don't want to do that. It's worth $1,500 to me. Right. So people are just so weird about like, I don't see why people are paying that much. They can pay whatever they want. It's just you provide value for someone, and you can charge whatever you want, really.
People just love the Christmas light content. Sean's had several things go viral from talking about Christmas lights. One of them was pretty recently. And the people are like chewing Sean up in that post. Number one, the guy's Hispanic. So they immediately said Sean was hiring illegals.
Like, dude, he works,
which is so funny.
The biggest chemical plant in Texas.
Like, thank you for assuming. But talking like that and like no one pays that much for Christmas lights. And Sean's like, I did. And in our neighborhood where we live, it's a big deal. Like we are a magnet in Houston where everyone comes. There's like buses with the top cut off. You pay.
Yeah,
like you park in a parking lot, they come pick you up, and like 20 people get in a bus and they drive you around the neighborhood.
And they're like riding around the neighborhood and like all in this like the top's cut off the bus, and so it's like a big party kind of thing, and they just go all through the neighborhood, and so people spend the money to put the lights up because it's a huge attraction from basically
like
all
$50,000 to $100,000 and more.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, this is crazy. You should come over here for the season.
Yeah.
A friend of mine got quotes on their house, and they got over $100,000 for their first quotes. They said no, and then got it requoted. But yeah, there's people paying 6 figures for 2 months of Christmas light.
Yep.
So now you learn from year one. One of the learning experiences that you had was that you started a little bit later. When do you start asking people? Is September too early? Do you feel like when it's warm outside, you're getting a lot of no's? You got to wait till you get your first cold snap. When is a good time?
Yeah. So the second year, so we started installing in September. And then the month before that was like where I was getting everyone rescheduled. We didn't have a lot of people to reschedule that year because we didn't do a ton the first year. But we started installing in September that year, and we incentivize them. We give them.
I was just about to ask.
Yeah, we give them a 15% off On top of they get a 15% off the second year just because we already have the lights.
Yeah.
So then they'd be getting a total of 30% off if they let us install in September, which it helps us a ton because
Spread it out.
Yeah, because we have
You're not trying to do all the work in 3 weeks.
November.
Yeah.
So that was one of the burning questions I had for you is, do you reuse the lights or do you cut them
Yeah.
down like our guy? Because that really sends people to next level when they find out they cut down the
Yeah.
lights. So how do you manage your business?
Yeah, so with ours, we take them down and then we actually keep them, and I like film a quick video, put together a map, like color coordinate each of the strands. It saves a lot of time saving them because the next year they go up so much faster because you don't have to cut each plug, because it does take time to put on each plug, put on all the bulbs and the clips.
So you mean you color coordinated them? What do you mean? Like this tree on a map is purple, so there's a purple thread around that, or?
So yeah, I just take a picture of the house,
Uh-huh.
and then on each strand, so we'll roll them up in a
Yeah.
roll, and then just put a colored zip tie on it. And then on the map, you draw what color is this. So like this color of the house has a red line.
Mhm.
This strand has a red zip tie. So it's pretty simple.
And how do you store these? So when you
That
have
was
all the
my
lights,
question.
like you put them
Yeah.
on a spoolie. I mean, Christmas lights are a nightmare.
Yeah.
I hate untangling those things. How do you keep them from tangling?
Yeah, so we try to wrap them up like kind of like a lasso you would.
Okay.
And then we tape them so that they don't fall apart. And then those black and yellow totes that people always have in their garage,
Yep.
just put them in those, stack them on top of each other. Some houses will have 5 totes, some will just have one, most of them.
Is you a label
Do you
maker?
leave them at the house?
No, so we actually store them all because some people do that because like we're gonna have to get a second storage this year. Like this last year we just had one storage, but we'll have to get another one. But some people will have them keep them. But the thing with that is the next year you have to text your clients, hey, can you put your bin out for us? And then sometimes they forget. It's just a hassle.
Yeah, I would imagine it wouldn't be too much of a loss of cost of goods because it's only 10% of your project. So is it more worth you? I know it's annoying to get a hold of people, but is it more worth you paying for the storage unit versus taking the chance of losing your 10% if they don't hire you the next year and they keep
Right.
your lights?
No, yeah, definitely.
Have you done the math on it to figure out what's best, or are you just living by the moment hoping for the best?
I think it's definitely, I haven't done the math, but I think it's definitely better to just store them because that's another thing you could sell on. We put up the lights, we maintenance them, we take them down, and we store them. So then they're like completely hands off. When they hear all that, they get why it costs what it does.
So how much is your storage per month?
So the one we have now is about like 300. So
Oh,
we'll
that's
get
pretty
another
good.
one. So it'll be like 600 total for the 2 stores.
And how many houses on average does each storage hold? I mean, how many?
Um,
If you only have one now, how many customers do you have storing their lights right now?
So the second year we did like 315, and we were able to get them all in that one storage.
That's
and,
amazing. So it's $1 per month
yeah,
for house.
right.
Well, that's totally worth it then.
Yeah.
In Houston, to get the size storage you have, it's probably over $1,000. I would
Really?
imagine. I mean, you get like an 8x8 for $300, like a really small unit. So what size is your
Well,
unit?
you'd have to go right outside of town,
Yeah.
not like in the
Yeah.
middle of town inside the loop. You could still find.
Because I'm
some
going by that
storage.
10 to 15 unit that
Yeah.
I had. It was, God knows how much.
Yeah, climate controlled inside the loop. It was expensive.
Yeah. The one we have is like no climate control.
You don't
It's
need
probably
it.
like an RV garage
Yeah,
size
yeah.
unit.
Oh, wow. That's huge.
Yeah, it is pretty big, but it's in Havasu. It's obviously not Houston, so
Yeah.
So, how did you get so the second year that you did the over 300,000? Where did you find the labor? Like, were these all friends of yours, or did you just run an ad to get installers? Like, how did you pay people?
yeah. So the second year it was just me, my buddy from high school that worked with us the first year, and then I also just posted on Facebook. They have the Facebook hiring groups. Posted on there, posted on Indeed, and found like I went through a couple of guys, but then I found like one guy that was like good. He had good work ethic because when we start in September, we work 7 days a week all the way until like the 15th. Like
The second year, you've already graduated at this point. I mean, you're out of school. Are you in college?
No. So what I did, I did a community college for like a month, and then I was paying these guys to do the work because it was online. So I was paying them to do the work for a month because my parents like wanted me to go to college. So I just joined the online community college just to like make them happy, sort of thing. But then, so I was paying the guys to do all the work because I was so busy with lights that I couldn't do it. And then after a month, I just dropped out because I made like so much with lights. I realized like
Did they? So when you went to them and said, "Hey, I made $275,000 in 4 months," did they say that you still need to go to college? Because I don't even know what job
At
that you could go
19
to college
years old.
for 4 years, and then you have to pay for all your school. And then what ROI would you get that's better than $275,000 in 4 months, or whatever your net was on that year?
Right. Yeah. I didn't even tell them. I just kind of dropped out of it. And
And they wouldn't have known anyway because it was online.
Yeah, I think they just kind of, I guess, understood. I never really talked to them about numbers really, but I think they understood, I guess.
Do they know now what you're making?
I think so. They asked me last year and I told them, but I don't think they know what we
That's
did
so
yet
funny.
this
They didn't
year.
even ask.
Made more than both of them in 4 months.
So how old were you when you graduated? Were you 17 or 18?
17.
Okay, so when's your birthday?
August 30th.
Okay, mine's the 27th. So you're just like me, the youngest in the school. I was wondering how the
Yeah.
math was going.
Yeah.
So the second year, you go to school for 5 minutes and you realize that your time is better spent making money at this point versus what your ROI is going to school. Are you the sales guy and then you have the labor guys? Are y'all doing this simultaneously or you're out there hanging lights with them?
So the second year, I was literally doing everything. Like I would go hang the lights. We'd get up super early, go hang the lights all day. And then once it got dark, I would drive back to Needles, which was like a 40-minute drive.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd have to make all the quotes because we do all of our quotes from online.
Mm-hmm.
You just like go on Google Maps, they have a measuring tool and stuff. A lot of companies will go in person, but that's when there's a lot of competition and they have to compete.
Oh, that's a lot of labor too, to send people to every house to try to give
Yeah.
quotes and you don't get jobs. And
What do you mean you're using maps?
So on Google Maps, you could go on there and you could put a pin like at the corner of someone's house, drag it, and it'll tell you exactly how many feet. And it's like spot on.
Oh.
So that's because we quote per foot. So we have like a price per foot that we charge for like walkways, roof lines.
how do you figure out a tree? Like if somebody wants to wrap
I
their
don't have a
entire
lot of
tree,
trees
how do
there
you,
like we do.
Yeah.
is it not like where you have like some big tree in their front yard? How would you bid it on Google Maps?
Yeah. So we have some like palm trees we do a lot of. And with trees, you charge per strand, but it's a lot of a guessing game. So once you do a few of them, you realize like that tree is going to take 10 strands. So you charge $40 a strand. So that's a $400 tree.
Do you have the Google images like we have here? I know some small cities don't,
Yeah.
but where you can at least from Google Maps, not only you're measuring, you can see how many trees they have and the size of the tree.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'll do. So I'll go on Google Maps, get the measurements, take a screenshot of the house, and then just draw like the different color sections. Like,
Okay.
And then price them. Like the red section for the roof line is X amount.
Oh,
The
wow.
blue is X amount.
So how long does that take you
Dude,
per house?
That's super efficient though.
Yes,
I mean,
that's
that's the
like-
most efficient way to do
That's like
it.
Yeah.
Laura drawing out stuff for our design on CAD kind of thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Google Maps is a great help for you
Yeah.
versus like trying to take a picture and then uploading that picture and making sure it matches the address. That's
Also sending a
Right.
sales guy to somebody's house, because if the amount that they were selling on their third year, you'd have to have multiple people if you were
Yeah.
actually going to people's house and giving them quotes.
yeah, I just have so many questions. I'm all over the place. So year one, you're doing all the sales, you're doing all the labor. Year two, you're getting busier. You have, it sounds like you went from 70,000 to how much? 275?
Three.
300?
It was like 315. The
So
second year.
315 the second year. So you've more than tripled, quadrupled your business.
Yeah.
But you go from 2 guys to 3 guys. But you're working 7
Pretty
days a week
much.
now. So when
Yeah.
you're doing that, are all 3 of you guys in a truck going together and doing one location at a time, or you spread everybody out where it's one guy per house at this point?
We would do them all at the same time. Even now, like I run a 4 to 5 guy crew and I'm not on it. But I put them all in one house because I feel like it's more efficient. The next year I'll probably add another truck, but I feel like it's more efficient when they could each just do their own section and then go to the next house. But some people split it up. But we would just all 3 of us would go to that house, we'd do it, go to the next one, and then we would just all carpool in the same truck.
Also, it keeps them from probably getting lazy if you leave one guy out of the house and then he's like just
Yeah.
on his phone, you taking his time,
Accountability.
not being efficient.
Definitely.
And so if there's multiple people there, it's like you can figure out if somebody's not pulling their weight.
Yeah, for sure.
And so this is your 3rd year right now. You just finished it out. What did you do this year?
So they have about a week left, and this year we'll finish like pretty much double from last year. So it'll be like 600 and like 20 ish. So a little less than double, but like 615,000 in revenue.
And your total profit margin with all of this, do you know a percent at this point? Are you 70, 75% after labor?
Yeah. So after everything, labor, ad spend, lights, pretty much every expense, it's right around like 65, almost 70%. So it's like
That's a great profit margin.
400 and
Yeah.
something.
Good for you, man. Awesome year.
so
So
awesome.
how much did you spend on, or how much per day? So if somebody's out there listening, like when you're running a Facebook ad, do you know who your marketing company would target? Would they just do like a zip code area of the place that you wanted to target? Is that where they would just run the ads? And was it a person in the ad, or was it just like a picture, like we'll hang your Christmas lights? Like what was the ad style?
Yeah, so for the Facebook ads, like the company I hired, they did a good job of like teaching you what to run. And the best thing we do is just selfie videos. You hold your phone up, selfie it. Hey, my name's Wesley. We do this, this, this. Click the link below to get a quote. And then there'll just be a form on the Facebook ad. you know, it just asks for your first name, your address, your number.
A lead gen form, yeah.
Yeah. And then you get a text with that. I'll get a text with that. And then the main thing is just like reaching out to those people right away.
Immediately.
And the cool thing with the Google Maps, we could get the quote out like, you know, within 20 minutes or something like
Big
that.
deal.
Yeah. Versus having to wait 2 days to get out to their house if they're in a different city. So I feel like doing the Google Maps thing is better because they could get their quote right then and there, and it's already.
So you're
on
not
top
sending
of mind.
people to the house anymore.
No. He's been doing it
never
off Google
have.
Maps.
Yeah.
I thought you said it's not.
No, there's a
year
measurement.
one you were knocking
Yeah.
on doors though, trying to get the lead, and then
Right.
you would go to Google Maps. But you're not sending. You're not having nobody go door knock anymore.
No. Yeah.
So was this all in your? So this 615,000 that you did this time, or 630,000, was it all in like one zip code, or did you kind of branch out throughout the city?
So we do 3 cities. So the main one where like 70% of our revenue is Lake Havasu. It's like a retirement town, but there's like pockets like in the top, bottoms where there's like, you know, multi-million-dollar homes in like a small city that only has like 150, 200,000 population, which is small compared to like Houston. So we do there, and then we do Kingman and then Bullhead City, and they're all like an hour away from each other. So we would just kind of, you know, one day we do this city, but like 70% is just in Havasu.
And what is your most common light design? Because I've been to Bullhead and there's no trees.
Yeah.
It's like in the middle of a desert. So I mean, you're
they're
just
probably
doing
putting
kind of
them
like
on a
you're
house
just
and
trimming it
hedges and-
out around just like the sidewalk, and then you said a palm tree here or there. Or
Yeah, so the most common houses are like the desert style house, I would say. But there's some that are bigger, that are like bigger houses. And the most common thing is just doing the roof lines, of course. And then I always offer like walkway, like lining the driveways, lining the walkways with lights. And then I don't like to do a lot of trees because I do charge a lot for them because I don't like to do them. But then, yeah, some people will have palm trees or like Palo Verde trees, which like sprout out as well, and we'll wrap those. But that's pretty much it. We don't offer wreaths either.
What were you spending a day running the Facebook ads this year to get to that 600 and something $1,000 in revenue?
Yeah, so in September we were spending like all through September. It was
Or
like,
just per month? Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
probably more early on.
Yeah, so September it was like $70 a day,
Okay.
and he would break it up. It'd be like 30 for Havasu, and then like the other littler budgets split between Kingman and Bullhead because they're not like our
Yeah.
biggest area. And then we started bumping it up slowly, and then we'd get to like 100, 150, and then right once we hit like October, like the last week of October, we bumped it up to almost 200. It was $200 a day. So then since then it's just been running $200 a day.
So
Still
$6
now.
grand a month.
So still now, even this late in the season.
Yeah, I still have it running. Like our cost per lead is getting way up. Like some companies he'll run it for, their cost per lead is like $10, but
Wow.
it's so low because people, bigger population, but there's a lot of competition, so their close rates are a lot lower. But like mine right now, it's at 72, but like throughout the season, it's been at like 50 to 60, but our close rate is like 70, 80%.
So once you get the lead, once you get the quote, once you get the commitment, is it credit card? How are you charging? Is it all up front? Or are they putting a portion down, a deposit through a credit card link, and then you just go out there and do it, and then you get the rest? How do you charge?
So I use a CRM, so that just like does all the scheduling and stuff. And then so I'll walk them through the quote on the.
Explain to people what a CRM is, so that probably don't know what it is.
Yeah. So CRM is just like a scheduling tool. So pretty much like we could build quotes on there, schedule jobs.
What's the name of the
bill
software?
them on there.
Well, there's a bunch of different ones, but it's like a sales management tool that'll allow you
So
to
it's not
track
like a
everything.
branded thing. I've heard of CRM in medical.
There's so many different
Yeah,
brands out there
there
now,
is.
but that's just the name of the actual program.
So do you just send them like a calendar and they pick a day that they want it installed?
So we schedule them like on the phone. I'll give them like a rough estimate and just tell them I'll text them the day before. But like, so once I have the quote, what I'll do is I'll like, hey, text me when you're free and we'll call and go over it. So we just do it over the phone. I walk them through it and send them pictures so they could see what it would look like and stuff like that. And then they pick which options they want to do because give them some options. And then all I do, I just take a 15% deposit over the phone because that like, you know, I have their card on file and then I could tell that they're committed. I'm not going to have to worry about them like the next day saying, oh, never mind, I don't want to do it.
Because
So
covering
it's
your 10% plus a little extra in labor if, you know, you show up and then they're like, just kidding, not paying the rest.
Is it 100% credit card, or is it like Venmo or Zelle, or how do you do the payments?
So the second year I would do the 15% through like the CRM. And then after that, I would try to do like checks, cash, Venmo to save on that 3% fee.
Yeah.
But now that I moved and I'm like so hands off, I can't do that now since I'm not there. So I just do everything credit card, and I charge them the 3%.
How
Okay.
did you do credit card processing in year one, or did you have deposits in the first year?
Yeah, so the CRM, they have like processing through it, and
So you're doing the same thing now that you were doing back then. I mean, because that's pretty savvy for someone who's just starting to really know how to do this and not just say
Right.
check only.
Yeah, so the second year is when we added the CRM. We still do it now, but like the second year, I would still like take checks and cash because they would save on the fee, but now it saves so much more time just to send them an invoice, pay the invoice, and just tips alone. We've done
Oh, they're tipping on top of this.
We've gotten $7,000 just in tips this year because they have like that option.
That's
on
really
it.
cool.
Yeah.
So I have two questions. First question is, how many times have you done a house and they didn't pay you or the check bounced?
Well, it's credit card.
Well, in the beginning it wasn't.
Oh.
So how many times have you gotten gypped?
Yeah. There's only been like one time, like the lady said,
And if they're watching,
yeah.
you're the only one.
Yeah, there's only really been one time, and it was like a lady that, like on the quote, she thought we were gonna wrap the whole house. We didn't, I guess, explain that it's just the front, and she ended up paying us. We just had to wrap the full house for a quote I did for just the front roof line. But that was the first year. But since like the first year in business, we haven't had any issues.
So she was your only wackadoodle customer?
Yeah.
Oh, you're very lucky.
What? So you're running the Facebook ads. It's about $6,000 a month this year. You're taking credit card processing. Average house is $1,600. What are you paying for labor on average? Like for one of your installers that is just an installer.
Yeah. So just an installer is just $20 an hour.
Okay.
But they make good money because they work 7 days a week, and I'd say an average, like altogether, an average day is probably 9 to 10 hours. So they get a ton of hours,
Oh,
$20
wow.
an hour.
Yeah.
It's good money for
Plus
them.
tips.
Yeah, and then some people will tip cash, but a lot of people will tip through the CRM. But then like my head guy, so the second year, I had this guy named Sean who was like, he had good work ethic. So then the next year, because I was moving and I didn't want to be like doing installs, I hired him, and he gets like a percentage, and I pay him. He makes like $2,000 a month just like running it. He drives the truck, he does all that, and I just do all the back end stuff. So he makes good money, and then the other guys make $20 an hour.
So how many people do you have total?
So I have Sean, the main guy, and then in the like September, October, it was just him and then 2 other guys. But now we have a fourth guy, so it's 4 guys running.
I mean, that's pretty good for a 6, 7,
Lean-
probably
lean-
800. Yeah, lean and mean. I like
Lean
Yeah,
operation.
no, it is super lean. Like a lot of big companies, they'll get a lot of trucks, work 5 days a week, do it like that. I mean, I'm gonna have to start doing that because I just found the right guys that would be willing to do that. If they want to make money, they'll work 7 days a week and do it. And if they don't have like a family, and because they're all younger guys, but yeah, we're super lean.
So what is your biggest learning lesson from year 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3? What do you feel like you could have done better, or what did you have an aha moment on?
1 to 2 was just marketing more, just because the first year I was just making sure it was like something people wanted. And then once I realized that, then we just, put a lot more money into marketing. And then 2 to 3, I would say, is just getting people scheduled like early, like more follow-up quotes so that they sign up earlier. Because once it gets to December, like right now, there's a lot of people that I feel like should have signed up if it was a bit earlier, but now they don't want to spend $2,000.
For a week.
Well, you're
Yeah.
incentivizing the people who do it early.
Right.
You don't want to, it's not incentivizing, but the people who do
Yeah.
it late, do they get kind of somewhat of a discount for waiting, or kind of like at this
Yeah.
point you're wrapping it up, you're more willing to negotiate at this point? We
Right.
don't want everybody, all your clients listening to this and knowing this,
Yeah.
but
No, because it's not
If you're
going
gonna have full
to
paying
it's not going to
clients
change
who
that,
want it.
because why would somebody, if you don't have to, you don't want to put up your lights for a week. Whole point is like you want to have them up early, probably right after Halloween is when most people start putting them up here. So it wouldn't matter. I don't think somebody's going to wait till the last week and put them up for 4 days to save $200.
so when do you start cutting them down?
Right. The first.
Cutting them down, taking them down.
Yeah. So the first we started taking them all down. The second year it took like 2 weeks, and it was just me and one other guy would take them down and do like a bunch in a day, bring a trailer, load up all the bins.
God, I feel like that's got to be.
Well, I'm calculating like 4 to 5 months total for you, right?
4 months total.
So you start putting them, well, working would be like you ordering the lights probably in August,
Yeah. So I
getting
guess
all the
that's-
lights in, you're still working, installing in September, heavy October, November, and then winding down in December. Take a deep breath for Christmas. And then you take 2 weeks of January. So that's half of January as well. So a total of 5-ish months. What are you doing the rest of the year?
So I just recently started a roofing company. I moved to Tempe because it's a bigger city. It's like by Phoenix. So I moved there, started a roofing company, and I'm getting that going like slowly right now because I'm busy with lights, and that's like obviously where I'm generating cash, so I might as well spend my time there. But then like once that's over after the first of the year, I'll be like all focused on just roofing. And that's what I'll be doing the rest of the year. And
So roofing is totally new to you at this point.
Yeah.
So you haven't really done anything in the past with that.
No.
So how will you manage this? Or you're just going to be like Sean and just figure it out as you go? When, I don't know, you guys don't have hurricane season, but usually like right around when you start Christmas lights is when everybody's getting storm damage on their roofs. How will you manage your schedule, or how do you think you're going to manage it? Are you going to hire somebody just to run the Christmas lights thing all together so you can manage the roof? Because that's going to be a 12-month a year, I would imagine.
Yeah. So the roofing is going to be like the main thing I put all my time into. So the lights, I pretty much have like my lead guy to do all the installs and stuff. And then I'm going to have to like hire someone to do what I would do, which isn't a ton of work. I mean, it kind of is when there's
It's
a lot
more of a sales
leads.
job.
So sales and quotes, yeah.
Yeah, sales, quotes, scheduling. So I might have to hire 2 people to do that, because with one person, they might kind of get overloaded, and I don't want to have to do any of it. So I'll probably hire 2 people to do, one for scheduling, one for like quoting, sales position, and then I'll just be focused on the roofing side of things.
I kind of feel like it's a sellable business too, because probably next year you're going to do $1 million. And then, based on if you can start early enough, run enough ads, if you did 600 something this year, and then so somebody can net 700 grand, I mean, it's not a bad business. And you're like giving them the playbook, you're giving them all the labor.
We're also going to cap yourself out at 3 cities. You're going to get to the point where there's not going to be that many more clients that are going to be signing up, right? You may cap it, 1 or 1.5. So at that point, do you have plans to continue to grow in other cities, or you just?
But he has all the repeat business that doesn't even cost. It's not. There's no lead cost or acquisition cost, and then you have all your new people, so you can spend more money on ads because you already have all your built-in business.
Yeah.
It's already a 70%.
But are you going to go to the next city? I mean, I know you guys are kind of spread out. The cities are not like it is in Houston, where there is no line or farmland between one city and the next. We're all clustered together.
What's the goal? What's the goal for next year? Like, where do you see it going, or what's the plan?
So for the lights, we'll probably, I'll have to hire those extra people, and we'll have to probably get another truck for more installers too, because right now they're working 7 days a week, but it's like pretty tight. So like, we're like next year we wouldn't be able to take on another 100, 200 clients without adding another truck.
So you have to separate out your crews.
Yeah, so I'll get another truck, hire some more guys, still start in September, and then get some office people to do all that stuff. And then with the 3 cities we're in now, we could probably get to around 900, maybe close to 1 million, but it's still not my main focus. My main focus will be roofing, because that's something I could, scale a lot bigger than that. But we'll still probably get it to that. And then, yeah, I've thought about selling it, but I wouldn't want to sell it until it's like I'm fully hands off and I have like an office person. So
it'd be kind of hard to sell if you're making 700 grand a year, working 4 months out of the season, and you still have your other business too, right? If like your roofing business starts taking off.
Well, if it's on autopilot and you're making that much cash, 500 to 700 cash, keep it and keep investing that so you can blow up the roofing company faster. I wouldn't sell it.
Yeah.
Because it's a service business. You can't really.
I don't even know what a multiple would be on that, but
maybe 3 times.
Yeah, if I got
it's a
somebody
service
to run
business.
it,
maybe.
So you probably get 1.5 million, maybe 2 million cash for it, or you just keep making $500,000 to $700,000 profit every year.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of
a
what
hard
I'm
one.
doing now.
And it sounds like it's a pretty easy business. You're not like manufacturing the lights. There's not a whole lot of going into like you creating something and all that goes into that, like what I do. You're not inventory, so you have a storage unit. That's nothing. That's pretty amazing what you've done at such a young age. I have to say I'm impressed.
Yeah,
I was impressed with Sean, but I'm more impressed with this guy than where you were at when you were 19.
He figured out a lot faster for sure.
Social media is a big part of it now. Like,
you can't deny the also just like how you got your leads, Facebook, and then now you don't have to do anything. You just go quote it on Google.
Yeah. So
you're like not even leaving your house. You're like sitting there getting your leads, calling them, getting their email, sending them the quote, and then getting payment right then and closing it.
I think a big investment is a lot of people, especially at your age, wouldn't be willing to do just out of inexperience, is hiring the marketing company and knowing you went as far as you could for free. If you want to do this and do this right, hiring somebody to do that. The Facebook, I always say it's the Legend of Zelda. They make it so fucking hard to figure out for the average person that you have to hire like almost like a computer programmer to like figure out how to, hit the right people in the right market and hone in on certain zip codes and ad spends and all that. It's just way more technical. I thought I was going to learn it from my guy and take it over, and hell no, I have no business doing that. That's not where my time is best spent. Mine is in front of the customer, Which leads to my next question I meant to ask you earlier is, when does your phone start ringing? Like, is it all day long you're taking calls when the ads are turned up and you just don't even get a break, barely get to have lunch? Or is it manageable throughout the day where you maybe in a couple hours go by, maybe you get 2 or 3?
Well, it sounds like he's scheduling everything.
I mean,
Yeah.
you said that you get a bing to your phone, though. You
So-
said that somebody answers to the ad with a questionnaire, and then you get that, and then you go from there.
Right. So yeah, I'll get a text with, it'll just say new lead, and then I'll have their phone number, name, address. So then I'll probably get like some days, like the highest days, because we have a website too, and we'll get leads from there, which come through a different Bing. And sometimes there'll be people that just call from like a yard sign they see, or they're on Facebook and they just call us. But I would say like over the whole season, like some days, the highest days you might get 10 leads, which with the way I do the quotes,
Like per day, 10 leads per day on your phone.
that's like the highest.
Okay, so that's not unmanageable.
Yeah,
I was
it's
wondering
not.
if you were like talking to somebody who's going bing, 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 bing
No.
with like 5 more clients at the same time.
Yeah, no, it's not that bad. So like the highest is that much, and then like some days, like especially in October and September, might get like 2 leads a day. Some days nothing. So it's pretty manageable, especially the way we do quotes. Like if I had to go to each house in each city, it wouldn't be manageable.
No, so you're getting the most amount of leads from your Facebook ads.
Yeah.
Yard signs, maybe a few a week.
So I would say Facebook ads is like 75%, and
Okay.
then we do yard signs. We do people referring, of course.
That's what I'm sure the referring comes
Yeah.
to the website, obviously, right?
Yeah,
Here's
yeah.
his phone number, here's his website.
Yeah, and then you have your repeat business, which costs nothing.
So how long does
Yeah.
it take you once you get the bing? Is it 20 minutes of work after that, or it just depends on how much of a chatty Cathy you get on the phone?
Yeah, so I guess that depends, but it usually goes pretty quick. So like if a new lead comes in, I text them, here's some examples. Hey, I got your request. I'll put it together right now. And then I just put it together, and it takes like, depending on the size, but average 10, 15 minutes to put it together. Then, hey, I have it ready now. You want to call and go over it? You go over it. And then most people just sign up there. Some people are like, yeah, let me talk to my wife tonight. And then you'll text them. A big thing is follow up.
That's exactly my next question was, are
Yeah.
you following up these people? I had to follow up with I try to train my new girl who's doing my wedding business. Like, you have to like follow up with these people. And we followed up with a girl because someone else asked for her same wedding day. I'm searching the email box. I'm like,
Yeah.
that date sounds familiar. Oh, somebody asked, she never followed through. So she messaged 2 people that asked about that day, and one signed, and that was like $2,000,
Yeah.
But she goes, oh my God, I thought I signed it. I totally forgot. So, I mean, the follow-ups, I'm sure, is a good percent of your business too, 10, 20, 30%.
Yeah,
Kind of
especially when
people.
it's like people who are filling out a form in like September, October. They're not really thinking about Christmas lights. So I'll have like people that I text like 10 different times. And then finally they're like, hey, sorry, I've been so busy. Let's do it. And they'll spend, $3,000 on lights. It's like follow-up is super important. That's why I have the high close rate. Like if I just did the quote and waited for them to get back to me, it'd be like 40,
Yes.
30%.
I agree. I think people need to listen to that, is the follow-up and communication. I always say how important communication is, but if you don't follow up, you're walking away from a lot of business. So I think that's good that you're doing that and kind of incentivizing. They're like, hey, it's September 28th. You have 2 more days to save 15%. Get your ass
Yeah,
out there.
that's what we do.
Put a fire under their ass. Yeah.
Right.
I like that. Well, I think there's a lot to learn from from this podcast.
Yeah, I love it.
And-
I'm like pretty anti-college now, and I have been for a while, and I don't really care if my kid goes to college. Probably should pay him not to go. He'll do better.
I think that you're interesting that your parents haven't even asked you.
Yeah,
Are you still
this
living at
year.
home, or did you get your own place right out of high school? Or
So I lived with them last year, but then I moved to Tempe. So now I just have an apartment out here.
and I'm surprised they had like not nosy and asking like, wow. I'd be like, Liam, show me your bank account. Hire me. I want the job.
No, it's just really cool because you just don't need college anymore. And I think people are just lazy. And so you take a little bit of initiative and you try to learn something, and you're not scared to work, and you can figure anything out.
Well, give me a number. I mean, just to let people really hear it. You made 70-ish thousand your first year. What was your cost of goods? How much did you spend on lights that first year? Did you say it was $5,000?
I would say in total, probably like 10, 12.
So
He
you
said-
spent 10,000, so half of your 20,000, which was a big risk for you to take, but you already had the job. You didn't have to. It's like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? You're not going to buy the lights first and then go get the work, right?
Right.
You go get the work. You buy the jobs for the 15% you've already charged these people. There's really not a lot of risk in this business, and it's so easy. And
yeah.
people will always do Christmas lights. It's not like one year. People are going to say, this year we're not doing Christmas lights. We're banning Christmas lights. That's not going to happen.
Right.
So it's a business that no matter what, every year people are going to come back. If you do a good job, you communicate well, and you're professional. So
And you have an
it's a
efficient
no-brainer.
system, and you store them, and you make it super easy, and you're like, that's what everybody does. They just don't want to do anything. And if the same guy says, hey, I have all your lights and here's your map, do you want to change anything? And you're like, no, go ahead. And then it's like, it's just so easy.
And I feel like a lot of stories that I hear, I mean, you're probably the third guy around your age that has done this. It's something so easy right out of high school. I'll say zero education. Some education and general knowledge, but pretty easy to
Right.
learn. You don't have to be an electrician to do
Yeah.
it.
Life is common sense. And that's where people think that they have to go to school for 4 years and have to do all this stuff. And it really is like common sense and work ethic. And that's it. Because you can figure anything out. Like you just start something and you just learn what doesn't work, what works, and how to get more efficient. And then you can make a bunch of money. It's that simple. People out there think it's like some rocket science and magic secret, but it's not.
Is there anything that gives you anxiety or stresses you out, or are you kind of like Sean and it's just nothing? You just seem so chill.
Yeah, I guess kind of. I mean, I feel like eventually I'm not too stressed right now, but with the business, but I feel like what I've heard, like once you have like, hundreds of employees, then it gets a little more stressful. But yeah, right now, no, I'm not.
You'll be able to handle it.
Yeah.
You're good. You got plenty of experience already.
I can't wait to see what you do with the roofing business. We're going to have you come back and hear you
Yeah.
say how you went from 2 million to 10 million on year 2.
Yeah. Whenever you sell your roofing business for 50 million, we'll have you back on and it'll be really cool.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years? In business and life? Do you want to get married and have kids? Do you think you'll own several different companies? You think you can be like Mike and Bo and do a little bit of everything? Get into real estate or?
I don't like doing a lot of everything. I like to do it like, I'll probably still be doing just home services since that's what I know. And then maybe like some investments like real estate.
Yeah.
But like I wouldn't get in, I might, but like what I think now is I would still just be doing home services, partnering up, buying, selling, flipping these companies since that's the industry I know. And then, yeah, I have a girlfriend, so I'd probably be married by then with kids. Yeah, that's probably where I'd be at in 10 years.
Shauna's going to tell you about real estate. Definitely put your money there.
Yeah.
But I'll always appreciate.
I thought about it this
save
year
you on taxes.
to save on taxes, but I didn't.
Man, just keep saving your money and doing what you're doing. There's no wrong. You're making shit tons of money
But
right
with his
now.
profits, you don't think he should start buying real estate?
I mean,
Or
it'd be
wait a
good
little
if
bit longer and keep
once
investing
you
in the
can
business?
learn a little bit, once he has the time to learn a little bit about it, I wouldn't say go focus all your time on it because he's making so much money doing something else. But you're so young. But yeah, I would definitely start buying, in the next couple of years. But once you get your roofing business going, it's like you have it set where you do have revenue and you have some people that work for you, then yeah, maybe it'd be time to go look at something.
That's the hardest part of what I do. And everybody would say that, and I didn't really understand what that meant when I had 6, 7, 8 people. Now I have over 30 between probably more if we add the podcast, because we have 36 actually, because I know that because we just planned our holiday party, so I know the RSVP was 36 people. It gets harder and harder, and it's the people. So if you can train really good people, like you said, you found that guy that likes to hustle you, and right away he was. One thing I learned from Sean is you'll never fire somebody too soon for not being the right fit. Make sure you get people who are like-minded, think like you, and work like you, and it's going to make what you do so much easier.
Yeah.
So when you get a lot of people who only want to do the bare minimum, just like Sean said, if you drop all these guys off for single jobs, they're going to be playing on their phone or not really working hard. But holding them accountable, keeping them in the groups, I think is working for you, and just keep striving to have the best of the best on your team.
It'll be some of the same, but the roofing business, you should be able to get some good people initially when you first start. That should really help you grow the business. But yeah, if you can get a rock star that's already in the roofing business, probably be the best thing.
Are you going to hire somebody out of the gate that has experience that's going to teach you more about roofing, or how do you plan on learning courses, online courses?
So I know about roofing just from like, it's not like too complicated, like a roof. There's not too many parts to it. So I've just learned about that, and I got my license for roofing, so I had to go through all the tests to learn about it. But like the installs, like I won't be doing that. Like for the start, it'll just be all subcontractors who have been doing it for years. And then to start, we're just kind of like a sales and marketing agency. We just pretty much market for it, build the brand, sell the roofs, and then eventually we'll bring on our own in-house crews because you'll get, better margins. But to start, you can just use subs.
Yeah, you're going to be a sales guy.
Yeah.
Generate leads, close the sales, and that's it. And then contract out the labor. They show up and do it in a couple of days anyways.
Yeah. And with roofing too, it's like out of all the home service industries, it has like the worst like rep. I would say like a lot of roofers, they don't show up, bad communication.
And the aftermath too.
Yeah. So it's a good industry to get into. And if you could just communicate, do what you say you were going to do, you could really stand out from a lot of the people who have been doing it for 40 years who haven't really grown or changed anything.
I can tell you how to stand out. Sean's mom just got a roof.
Yeah.
They ripped everything off, nailed everything down. She went into her attic. She had no idea what the aftermath was going to be up there. Started asking some of her friends, and they were like, no, this is super common. I'm like, man, if I owned a roofing company, it's what I'm going through my head. I'd be the guy that says, and you know what? This is what it looks like when most people come to a roof and don't clean up after themselves. This is what one of our roof projects looks like. I think it's a good selling point too, because a lot of people don't know that, but apparently it's a really common thing that it's just an absolute mess in the attic when they're done.
Yeah. If you educate clients on all the different things between what a good contractor is, what a bad one is. And they just see because I mean, social media is so big now that if they follow you and they keep seeing all this educational stuff, when they hear of someone or they need a roof, you're the first person.
Referrals are definitely huge, I'm sure, in that. You got your eyeball on any other home services?
Eventually I want to do, because I was thinking about doing HVAC and plumbing right away, because I want to do like higher ticket service. So roofing, HVAC, plumbing, those are all like higher ticket services, instead of doing like window cleaning where it's a lower ticket. Anyone could do it really. So I was going to do HVAC, but I switched to roofing just because, with HVAC and plumbing right now, there's a lot of private equity in it. It's already like really advanced. A lot of the operators are already doing all the right stuff and communicating, have the good CRMs and all that, whereas roofing is still like a little behind. A lot of people aren't like caught up yet, like where HVAC is.
So more opportunities there.
Yeah, I think so.
Are you going to be on the roofing company? Are you going to be the face of the brand, like a personal brand, or is it just you're going to kind of brand the roofing company like it's its own deal?
Yeah, so it's going to be branded as its own deal. I actually paid a branding company.
Okay.
They did all the branding, and that's like, it was like 20 grand for everything, but they do good branding, so that all the wraps look good and you're not just a white truck with a logo on the side of it. Yeah. But I won't be the face of it.
Okay. I was just curious. Yeah, no, the more people we can have on that can show people that you really don't have to go to college, the better, because that's where I think traditional education is like so messed up right now, and people that are your age, they graduate and they don't know
what they want to do,
what they want to do in life. And honestly,
nobody knows. Who knows at 16 years old what they want to do?
Yeah, that, and then you don't get the right schooling anyways. And so since you don't
sign
get
up
the
for
right
what you think
schooling,
your friends are
you
doing.
graduate and you're like, well, I really don't know what I want to do because I didn't learn anything.
Yeah.
Well, didn't learn anything that'll actually help them in life. They just learn history and
what I feel like a lot of people do, they come out of high school and they don't know what they want to do. So then they delay having to make a decision by just going to college. That's kind of why I joined college, I feel like, for that 1 month, because I didn't know what I wanted to do really. But then I kind of realized and then dropped out. But I feel like people, like, they just want to delay that decision, so they just go to college for the 4 years.
It's like the extension of high school, because I mean, I remember being 16 years old and they were like, you have to hurry up and apply for college. You have to know what you want to do. I'm like, how do I even know when I haven't done anything yet? That's just not even real life.
If you gave people real life education and like stuff like this, or taught them about real estate, or taught them, how to run businesses, how to run Airbnbs, how to do anything, like real life skills that they could use to go out and make money, you'd have a lot more people that would know what they want to do when they graduate, or they would just have more confidence. Yeah. It's like you don't have any confidence because you graduate and you don't even know what a mortgage rate or interest rate or anything is. And so you just have no confidence when you're 18. But if you had all of the right education, I think you'd have more confidence and like try to figure out the field that you'd want to go into. It's like, well, I'm confident in this. I know how to do this. I really like this. But instead, you don't fucking know anything about life, anything. And so of course nobody's confident and nobody knows what they want to do. It's just a bad system, I think. And so many more people, we could have a way better education system, which hopefully I'll disrupt one day. Part of the reason we started the podcast, small part, but
to give people idea, like, well, listen, he
and then just show people that it's
you don't need millions of dollars.
It's not rocket science. Yeah. Again, it goes back to like communication, common sense, and like having the ability to just figure it out. That's it. Yeah. And like you can make it happen.
Well, I think we got a lot of information from you. I really appreciate you coming out here. I know it was a bit of a trek for you to come from Arizona, so thank you so much. I know this is a very intriguing topic for myself, and a lot of other people love to hear about it too. And just like Sean said, there's no excuses. You did it. You did it 16, 17 years old. You had this idea. You're 19 years old doing $700,000 a year at 75% profit margin. That's pretty fucking amazing what you've created, and already have your mindset on the next 3 trades you're going to get into. So I love it.
No, yeah, thanks for having me. It's pretty cool.